Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Death Note Part 2, Episode 35, Malice. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So in this episode, it begins with various cameos of various characters while music plays in the background. And then we have Nier reaching out to Light and setting up a meeting with him at an abandoned warehouse that he has purchased at a future date, and sets the parameters for the meeting of who will be in attendance, what they're to bring, what will happen beforehand, etc., etc. Then we move on to Takada, who is returning to either her apartment or arriving at the studio, one of the two. Either way, she has been transported. And in the brief cameos, we see Matt speaking with Mello, and then we see Matt driving a car. He kind of crashes into the security where Takada is, shoots off a smoke bomb, and then drives away. From within the smoke, Mello arrives and takes Takada on his motorcycle, kidnapping her. Matt ends up in a car chase with Takado's security, and he gets out of the car when he's caught, assuming that they're not going to kill him. Unfortunately, they do so without hesitation or remorse, and Matt ends up dying in the first episode he premiered in. Back with Takada and Mello, he takes her to a trailer where he has her undressed to make sure she's not keeping anything secret. She convinces him to let her undress under a blanket, which allows her to keep a page of the note handy, which she then uses to write his name, which Light gave to her. The true name, which Soichiro saw before he died with his eyes when they were in that warehouse way back at the start of part 2. And after she kills him, she then gets a list of names from Mikami and is told to kill as many people as she can for, in the time that she has left. And then Light, as they're on the way to save her, writes on his note that she dies by suicide, setting fire to her location as well as any writing implements that she may have used. And when they arrive, they see that the building is in fact on fire, and she has died as well. And of course, I think I mentioned she wrote Mello's name, so Mello also died. And that's basically what this episode was, is a lot of the loose ends or the extras being tied up and cleared off the board so that we can have our final confrontation between Nier and Light in the next couple of episodes, as there's 2 more left in this season, or this part. So now that we've been reminded what happened in this episode, it's time to rank the episode. As always, we'll be ranking on our mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. So on our mostly objective ranking list, we have +1 for the single arc supporting character introduction, and that is Matt. To be honest, I completely forgot he died in the same episode that he appeared in. In fanfiction, he has such a big role whenever Matt and Mello and Nier are there. He's almost like a trio with them. So I was actually shocked to be reminded that he had such a small role in the anime, at least. That's worth 1 point. Obviously, spoiler, he dies, so that's worth another point, as that was a single arc supporting character development. Single arc supporting character development as well was Takada's kidnapping, and also Takada dying. So that brings us up to 4 points. Then we have our single arc main character development, which is that Mello dies, worth 2 points, bringing us to 6. And then positive 2 points for Nier reaching out to Light in order to make the meeting and setting the parameters of the meeting, which brings us up to 8. However, minus 2 points for Light killing Takada, who is not technically a criminal. I mean, I guess technically, since she did write Mello's name and then wrote names that Mikami emailed to her, she did become a criminal, but no more of a criminal than Kira is. So I don't think that she really would have fit typically into his parameters, but she's just a loose end that he needs to tie up, which obviously is terrible, especially since he straight up tells her when she calls him that that's what he's going to do, is kill her, and that she has to write as many names as she can before that happens. I just think that that's very negative. And also, Mello getting his friend killed because Matt signed up to help him kidnap Takada. He did not sign up to die. In fact, he didn't think that he was going to die. Neither did Mello, to be fair, but still, the security of Takada straight up open firing and killing somebody who only shot a smoke bomb at them. Like, he didn't do anything that deserved to be shot down by multiple individuals at all. So that definitely also was negative messaging or behavior. So all of these negatives come together with a minus 2 points, leaving this episode at a 6 out of 10 total. Bringing our mostly objective rankings so far for part 2 to, in first place, Selection, Vigilance, Justice. Malice came in 4th place. Father, Transfer, Abduction, Impatience, and then in last place we have Scorn. Now, my personal ranking for this episode is that I did enjoy it to an extent. I like that we're finally seeing some movement and action on this game. As I've mentioned before, I just think part 2 pales in comparison to part 1. I think L was a better opponent. I like that they started on equal footing and then they worked together and it was a true game of cat and mouse. I feel like to a certain extent Nier is cheating. He got all the information from L to help him make his suspicions and his correlations, his deductions. That's what I was looking for. His deductions and such. I do like that they both think that they know each other's plans at this point and are ready to face each other. But again, it's just not as magical as it was between Light and L. I thought, like, it just doesn't have the same uh, panache. I'll say, like, there's just nothing. There's no chemistry between them as opponents. Let me put it that way. It pales. And also, Nier says that he's just going to let Misa go. And to be fair, she doesn't have her memory anymore, so she just gets to be let go, but at the same time, everybody knows, even Nier, that she was the second Kira. So it's kind of like if you're going to be punishing everybody, she's like more guilty than Takada was. And yet Takada's dead here, and Misa's just going to be fine and she's going to get let go. I think that's unfair, completely. Um, so I didn't like that stipulation of their meeting. Obviously, this episode is entertaining in the fact that we are kind of sweeping the board clear. We're getting rid of like kind of the excess characters so that it can be narrowed down to the final confrontation between Light and Nier. So Mello goes, Matt goes, Takada goes, Misa is technically going to go, but not in a permanent way, just being let loose, and it's going to come down to the SPK versus the task force, and they are going to be meeting in the warehouse, and that's what this episode was setting up. It was entertaining, tension was built, seeds were planted, the board was cleared. This all led to an entertaining watch. That's why I gave it the highest score for an episode so far in this part, and that was an 8 out of 10. And that, of course, brings our personal ranking to, in first place this episode, Malice, Vigilance, Father, Selection, Justice, Transfer, Abduction, Scorn, And in ninth is Impatience. Bringing us now to the series ranking so far. Part 1 ended with 70.77% on our mostly objective ranking, and Part 2 so far has 43 out of 110. Then the personal ranking, Part 1 ended with 60.38%, and Part 2 so far has a score of 43 out of 110. And with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Death Note Part 2, Episode 35, Malice. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.